My name is Mahomad, and I am from Yemen. So my question is also all kinds of restrictions to the freedom of expression, participation, articulation, or even involvement of indigenous people in the policy making process. So now, with the development of the IT information technology, with the in a way, the kind of, the mushrooming growth of the Arab media, specifically the print, the televisions, where you get to see the discussion on the TV studio, which was never the case before. And finally, the new media of the social network. Through these means, the Arab youth have been exposed to things happening outside the region. So in a way, you will find the media role as a facilitator in expanding the interaction between the younger population of West Asia with the rest of the world, which is not the case. Think for a moment, 1991, when the US-led coalition attack on Iraq took place for the liberation of Kuwait, majority of the country called Oman were not aware of it. Oman is not very far from the theater of conflict that was Kuwait, because of the restrictions imposed by the king. All of you know. So what I'm trying to tell you here is now the borders have become ports. The majority of the countries in the world enjoy a semblance of sovereignty. Sovereignty is not absolute. Okay, if you try to apply the Westphalian principle of sovereignty. Now this has come as a kind of advantage to the West Asian people, particularly younger generation, to reach out to the people outside the region. And second, because of the exposure, because of the interaction, even if the regime doesn't want it, the question has arisen in their mind, why are we like this? So earlier, we, as a student of West Asian politics, international politics, many scholars, analysts, policymakers outside West Asia, outside WANA region, used to look from outside, but happening inside West Asia. Now we have a huge body of people coming up, scholars coming from within the region who present the inside view of West Asia. So there was a saying, when the child is born in an Arab family, the child is taught, like unlike other parts of the world, like in India, we normally teach a child how to speak. In the Arab family, it was just the opposite. The child was taught, or used to be taught, how not to speak. Because the moment a child speaks, so the act of speaking constitutes a defiance to the patriarchic social system, where Baba, or the father, is everything. Hence, the concept of state in Arab world is known as Hukumat Baba. Father is everything, authoritative father. So, there was little scope for defining the state. Forget about resisting. Defining the state. Second, supplementing to this attitude was the religion. That is, majority of the Arabs happens to be Sunni Muslims. And there is little scope in Sunni theology for challenging the ruler. However good or bad the ruler may be, the ruled are not supposed to raise their voice or to resist, because the ruler is seen as the agent of God. There is a concept of al-Hakimiyya. Sovereignty lies with God. And the king, the ruler, is the representative. So there was little scope for opposing the ruler, the master, on the religious ground. Right. And third, majority of the Arab states, by nature or in nature, were security state. And here, the state is in possession of extraordinary military power, the military hard power. The state, rather than commanding respect, the state instills fear. So, because the state, in other typical Arab states, here you have a network of surveillance and counter-surveillance, security forces, who rule over the citizens. And citizens are not persuaded to accept the state authority. Instead, citizens are forced to accept the state authority. Okay? So, the state is a kind of fear state, a state that creates fear in the mind of citizens. So, that was the kind of nature of the typical Arab state. Since 2011, the outbreak of the Arab Spring in Tunisia, in spite of the Arab Spring or the parts of West Asia, particularly Arab world, that itself is a great phenomenon which constitutes a break with the past and which in a way opens up the opportunity or the space, scope for an attitudinal changes. That is, to resist the regime, to resist the ruler, not by violent means, to non-violence, to protest, to street protest, to public protest, and sit-in, which are not part of the political culture of our world before. So that itself, I'm saying, is a remarkable development. And this, in a way, to me, creates a kind of style, some kind of optimism about the near future in our world. Yes, there are indications, sufficient indications of the reversal of the process of the Arab Spring. As one speaker in the morning mentioned, the Arab Spring is related into the scorching heat. Some people talk about the winter, the Arab winter. All this suggests the backsliding of the democratic transformation. The phase of democratic transformation which is heralded, the dawn of democratic transformation heralded by the Arab Spring. But then, this, at the same time, creates scope for the changes to take place. Once the youth have tested what freedom is, I don't think, or I doubt, if they are prepared to accept dictates of the state, including the Egyptian ruler, General Alsaqi, without murmur of protest over about defiance. The process is on, I'm quite optimistic. Regardless of the chaos that you see in Yemen, in Libya, in Syria, in Lebanon, but once the process, the forces are unleashed, once the scene is out of the bottom, difficult to put it back into the bottom. You understand? So, here comes the role of the youth, who constitute more than 50%, sometimes 70% total population, 60%, 70% total population. The onus is on them, the responsibility is on them, how best they can contribute to the process of transformation taking place expeditiously towards a change of regime. Because this kind of separation, denial of freedom, will not last long. What should endure ultimately is a government, a regime based on principle of inclusiveness, principle of transparency, accountability. All these are components of good governance. And the last part of my reflection would be, at the same time, the educated youth in most of the Arab countries are, sometimes they appear to be, wary of the extremist forces represented by the Islamists. Because many educated youths continue to believe that once the Islamists are elected to power, the slogan for the Islamists would change from one man, one vote to one man, one vote and one time. Means when the Islamists come to power, there will be no election. So in place of authoritarian regime, there is the risk of a theocratic regime. The time has come for those who, in varying degree, subscribe or appreciate the Islamist ideology. They need to take into account and reflect that the dream of creating the Medina state of a Puritan Islamic republic is highly impossible. And that, in a way, plant the seeds of further dissension and undermine the prospect of the democratic conditions in most of the countries in West Asia today. So here comes to what action the youth of the region are getting affected with these extremist ideologies. So, then, as I mentioned in my conversation, extremist ideologies are the inevitable product, an inescapable product of the historical process of state formation. It is happening in Europe, which came in the form of Nazism, fascism, pan-Slavism. So it may happen in West Asia, because here the states are competing or striving for consolidation of the state. The extremist ideology is a byproduct of this process. That one has to be extremely cautious. When the process of democratic conditions is taking place in much of West Asia. So there is a possibility of Islamists trying to hijack this process. And finally, the West Asian youth are in the habit of pushing on the responsibility back to the outside player. I just gave it here just for you, West Asian youth, to reflect on this. The global powers have a tendency of influencing the lesser power, including India. But the global power would be successful in penetrating these countries where the countries or the governments are vulnerable. The vulnerability of a state stems from two. One, its own stability, structural stability. And second, forcing, overhauling loyalty to a state, a nation state. Unfortunately, most of the West Asian states are vulnerable to external influences. So because of the vulnerability, the global power has had a free day. So if you say that it is because of the global power intervention, West Asian states experience chronic instability. To remind you of our statement. First of all, the states have to build up their infrastructural power, the critical mass in a way that would minimize the possibility of direct or effective, efficacious, indirect intervention of the competing global powers into the domestic arena of these states. So here comes the responsibility of the West Asian states to concentrate on building up the state in a way that where it will promote the loyalty to the state, and which is, in a way, I'm not saying cosmopolitan, which in a way inclusive in nature. It doesn't exclude on the basis of sectarian identity, regional identity, linguistic identity. Then only the possibility of global intervention would be minimal, and the ROCs under the young leadership of the Arab youth, the West Asian youth, so they could dream of having a region which should be peaceful and orderly, and also at the same time that contribute to a smooth democratic condition in most of the West Asian and North African countries, especially the Arab countries. Because here, deliberately, I have avoided mentioning about development in Israel, because it's far more stable as compared to its Arab neighbors. And I also exploded Iraq precisely because things have begun to change since the exit of Ahmadinejad in Iraq, and Turkey, another non-Arab country in the region, because Turkey has suffered 4 successful elections, though it has ended up with the election of anti-Kemalist parties led by Erdogan. So Turkey no longer presents itself or should not be seen as a model, as many Arab scholars look towards Turkey or tend to see Turkey as a model. But on the whole, the youth has a responsibility not only to the society, also to the state, in terms of their willingness or driving contributions to the smooth democratic transformation that is unfolding much of West Asia today. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, all of you, and sorry I joined you a bit late, but we've heard Rashmi sir again, and I'm sure you would also like, and I would also like, to hear our young people speak up, because that is also a reason for holding this conference. It is not about experts talking, it's also about listening to our young people, because this conference is designed for them. We should know what are their concerns, what are their hopes, what are their aspirations, and especially in West Asia. Just say 2 sentences and I'll end with that, and I would leave the floor to you, because I think we should minimize time and formalities and other things, so that more time is given to is there for our young people. So I think in the region, in West Asia, we are seeing a new educated class. The generation of your parents was busy making 2 ends meet, putting food on table, the basic needs. So that has been addressed at a very functional level, at a common man's life level. That has been addressed to a certain extent. But this generation of West Asian youth, educated youth, they have it in them to make this a century of peace. Ever since the 21st century, whatever the headlines can come out from West Asia and the region, it is very disturbing. It is the headlines of refugee crisis, people having their homes bombed out, like in Syria, and all manner of slaughter being carried out, communities being exterminated, people have nothing to eat, children are homeless, rendered homeless in the winter, they have to spend their time in tents. Mothers are clinging on to their children. So heart-wrenching images we are seeing in the global media. This has to stop. The educated youth from the region, it is their duty to their countries and to their region to demonstrate the excellent power of humanitarianism. And when they receive education, go back. And if those unfortunate children over there who cannot go to school, cannot have any education, give them the gift of education. Spare time, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever you can, volunteer and teach them. Teach them what is important and teach them what should be avoided in life, so that we can all create a better world. That is, I think, the role which all of us can play. Each one. We don't need governments, we don't need private sector, great grand private sector enterprises, but each one of us can do that much for our fellow human beings. I think if we end up with that, go back with that message from this conference, we will have a much better world. So I leave the floor open to you all, and you can start taking our permission. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to address Mr. Mahomad from Palestine to receive this speech.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Singh, Chairperson WOSY, Professor Aswani Mahapatra. We are really so much excited by his speeches since the morning. My brother, my sister, students, welcome you all. Yeah, I am one of the West Asia and North Africa youth. Okay, maybe my age is a little bit bigger than you. Yeah, I am a 44-year-old man, but I have faced and I have seen a lot. And I have a lot of big experience to share with you, but I will limit it to a few points from the recent history till the day. So first I will start with WOSY. This is the great platform we created for all of you to create your future leader when you go back to your country. So we should thank WOSY for giving us this opportunity, enlightening us, give us, break the fear inside our heart. Maybe in our countries, in some of our countries, we are afraid to speak. But here, you don't have to be afraid to speak. You can speak and share your ideas, freely and openly. This is what we are granting all of you. So you should carry the flag of revolution, I mean civil revolution, when you go back to your place. This is one of the major points. Second, I would like to highlight 3 names. I hope that all of you are aware of it. One is Mahomad. I don't know whether all of you know about it. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, madam. Madam, for me, the most about him, I'm not from the region we don't know about him. It's shame on us. I feel a little bit about him. Then, Mahomad al-Wahidi, I think most of you know about him. And then, Prof. And I think most of us. Who is this 3? Mahomad young boy, came out from the disaster refugee camp of Palestine, which is my hometown. I'm proud of it. Apart from the destruction, apart from all that we hear in the news, but we are living, and we love the life, and we will continue to do so, because we have one goal. We want to live in peace with our neighbors. We don't want war. We don't want more killing. Our children and their children should live in peace. Our state should be created in the border and live in peace. Community to live. So, from all this Muhammad came, is a youth. He took a horrible journey to go to Cairo and to wander and be Arab idol. And now where is he? He is now the UN ambassador for peace. So this is our youth mission in Palestine. Muhammad al-Wahidi sacrificed his life for the Arab Spring, or some people would like to call it the Jasmine Revolution, as well as to call it in Tunisia. Simple man, seeing some vegetables and a cart in the road, sacrificed his life for all of you to have a better life. But we have seen now where our Spring went to. They are aware of it. In Egypt, the revolution started from the youth through social media. So we are educated. The youth in the region, they are educated. But they are diverted from feeling free from shooting. Proper higher education and proper participation in the political life. I still mentioned some more in detail about this in this speech now. So I don't want to go much more. So we are thinking what we need is of freedom of speech. It is what's in our heart. We need someone with a stick trying to talk us no. And this is what we are trying to do. Now I'm talking young youth representing all, I say, short communities, okay, but actually it is the lady, girl, mother, everyone. She was also part of Arab Spring in Yemen, and she won a Nobel Prize for peace. the power, but we need a referendum. All of us hope in the future, but hoping something and creating a reality is something else. Thinking is something, implementing is something else. So unless we generate the power inside us, unless we believe that we are going to change, you will never ever move a foot step ahead. So we believe even with the all drastic things that happen now, the Iran and this story, I tell you one thing, humanitarian issue. Parents which educated from all recently is discovered in the Syrian refugee camp. Are you aware of this? I hope so, yes. See the disaster we are referring to. This conflict killing the innocent people, me and you. Leaders are leaders. We are getting lost in the middle. So we just attain hope for peace and pray for peace and wish for peace will come Palestine and to the whole region, and all of you live in peace and share and be the future leader. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahomad. And now we are having questions and answers of the students, one of students. If anybody wants to ask a question or something, please raise your hand. Kathy.
Observations. More than questions, we would like observations to hear your views. That is what is more important. Questions also, but I have an observation also. What do you think should be there in the region? We need views from young people.
Assalamu alaikum. I have two comments on the professor and also our friend Dr. Sakri. So the first one to Dr. I'm bad in writing names, right? So the first about children and how they learn. Can you give me the source that is written on it, because I am doing my PhD in Arab Spring, so how they can be taught in childhood, and also election in Islam. On which source you depend, because we know that in Islam there is election. It's not as the concept that shaped in your mind, because we have to read many sources. Not on one, I think. Also, the relationship between family, Arab family, is strong, and anyone can expect. About my friend, freedom of expression, we need to talk. I'm not, I don't want to talk. I want just only my rights. Talking, I am not a crazy man to talk, and the government give me the freedom to talk. So what's the benefit of this talk? I want my rights. We are looking for rights, not for talk. If you just go to Google and see those types of young, these newspapers, you will see that they are talking blah blah blah. What is that? The benefit of this, speech? Yeah, we want the action. Let the action do more than words. This is what we are looking. But I want you also to depend on many sources from different, elements. Yeah, thank you.
Alright, so I'm Aswani also from Yemen. So my comments or what I observed is we're talking about youth. The new generation. I kind of mentioned that yesterday in this discussion, but many of the people in here are not there. To be honest, the problem is not in politicians or in the countries or whatever is happening. The problem is actually in us youth. We're doing nothing. Like we're diverting, like very diverting from the main point that we're supposed to do. let's say, we talked about technology yesterday. Let's see a lot of people now using technology. Some people spend around 4, 3, 5, 6, 7 hours a day just on Facebook or on WhatsApp. Those hours, if they were used in a different way, we could achieve a lot, like more than that. The way that we are educated, we're saying we're educated. It's true we're using technology, but being educated is a different thing. Using technology is not being educated. Using technology, anyone can learn it. Like